Hello, good morning, everyone. Let me share this out, get some people going. We'll see how everyone is doing. It is a happy Monday morning. Um, just gonna send this out to everyone. So let's see who's in here. Bum, 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 bum. I guess it's good. There we go. Still figuring out the functions of sending invites and stuff like that. I don't even know if it's appreciative or not. Um, I guess some people like the reminder. I don't know. I never thought to do that, but then somebody says, "Oh, can you remind me? Can you remind me?" So that's why I'm sending. If there's anybody that doesn't want me to send a reminder, please just tell me privately, and I just won't send out a reminder. I mean, it's no big deal. But wow, wow, wow. So much to talk about. I don't even know where to begin in the world of talking. I mean, like right now, it's I don't know. As I said, I don't even know. I do want to write this down. So day eight. Day eight today is 2/9/26, and I do want to read that. All right, I'm just getting myself squared away and scheduled. All right. Yes, we're doing chapter 18. I think I'm ready. Okay. Good morning, everyone. So it is Monday, February 9th, 2026. We are on the 91st day of Bible reading. 91 days. I mean, in 9 more days is going to be the big 100th episode, which I'm proud of myself. I mean, I guess we take numbers as far as accomplishments and stuff like this. And I always was the type that when it came to accomplishments, I would completely set goals that were so far unreachable. Oh, hello, Sophia. Welcome to the show. I would set goals for myself that were like almost impossible to reach. And I would get frustrated that I never reached my goals. And I guess I came into this mentality that no matter how much you strive for something, it's never good enough. And that was a way that I tortured myself, which is a bad thing. So what's interesting about today's show, if anybody looked at the title, I called it rebranding. And I called it for another reasons. Yes, I'm probably going to get myself in trouble in regards to what happened yesterday. But I watched yesterday, I watched the Super Bowl, I watched the ads, I watched both halftime shows. I'm gonna say that. Watch both halftime shows. And for me, when I come and do these shows, I always wonder, okay, I don't plan for what I'm gonna talk about. Oh, hello, Daddle. Thank you so much. Jesus loves you as well. Welcome to the show. And everybody else, Sophia, who came in. Jeremy, right off the bat, do you think slavery should be a thing? Now, you know something? That's the most ridiculous question that you could come in for. And actually, no, I shouldn't give you credit because there's even more ridiculous questions that people say. But do you think slavery should be a thing? Would it be bad if I said should? No. Does it happen? Absolutely. And it has happened our entire human existence. So from day one, slavery existed in some way. So I almost want to say, okay, so what's your point? But anyway, I know every time I do these shows, I am inviting negativity. I'm inviting trolls. You know what it is? People have nothing better to do than to come in and just disrupt the flow of conversation. Okay, yes. And you know something, Jeremy? What's beautiful about it? Yes, you're right. The Bible does talk about slavery. I would love for you to open it up, start reading, start absorbing the Word of God, and understand and ask yourself, okay, if the Bible says, talks about slavery, find out why does it talk about slavery? How does it come into play? What are they trying to discuss? Hello, what's that? Recent? Recent. Welcome to the show. God bless everyone as well. Thank you. I appreciate. Okay, so you know the Bible very well. So then, if you know the Bible very well, then why would you come in to somebody else's live that's just simply having a conversation to ask such a ridiculous question such as that? Seriously. I mean, I think that's the most ridiculous question, which I shouldn't challenge people, but it's a ridiculous question. How about coming in, settling down, listening to the conversation? So, okay, so you know something, Jeremy, you're gone. You're gone. I'm trying to. I try to give respect and love to everybody who comes in. But if you're just going to come in to destroy my life, then you know something. Goodbye. You're on mute. So, I want to talk about rebranding because I think it's an important discussion and it does talk about you as an individual when things change in your life and how your life changes when you quote rebrand your life, how a lot of things happen. So obviously, like I said, I watched the Super Bowl and there was a few major rebrands that literally happened that maybe people weren't aware of. So, for example, we could say the official halftime show, which featured Bad Bunny, there was a change, there was a rebrand, there was a metamorphosis among him on how he presented himself compared to how he normally presents himself. Then we go to another halftime show. And in that particular halftime show, there was another rebrand. Somebody, Kid Rock, decided to perform not only as Kid Rock, but then perform in his natural, real name rebrand. There was another commercial, the Pepsi commercial, which I thought that was hilarious, is which they take the iconic Coca-Cola brand, incorporated into their commercial, and not only incorporate, because Pepsi and Coke have always been at war with each other, but not only did they incorporate that, but to put up the symbolism of what happens when you are secretly recorded on live TV with the love of your life, so to speak. So that was a very interesting rebrand. Um, there was a couple of commercials throughout the show, which really stood off. One of them, I have to admit, when I watched the commercial, I was watching it, and I actually felt bad when I got to the end. But then I had to go Google it and figure it out again, and I still don't understand the commercial. But it's the Jesus is More commercial. If the Bible was written in English, there's no reason the Super Bowl halftime shouldn't be. Actually, I have to give you credit for that, but there you go, quote of the day. um. Anyway, anyway, so the Jesus is More commercial, I thought was interesting because as I saw the commercial, I'm watching it and I'm like, what are they advertising? Like I was looking at Chris, I'm like, seriously, what is this advertising? And I'm watching the whole commercial and I can't figure out what the product is until the end where they're like, Jesus is More, it's a Jesus is More campaign. And I had to say to myself, I'm like, that's their commercial? Like that's I'm like, even after watching it, I watched it a second time this morning because I was trying to find it and I'm like, okay, somebody has to have this commercial and I want to see it. I watched it again. And for me, it's like a lost in translation thing because you could say, oh, but she watched it again. That's people getting, I still don't understand what the point of that commercial was. I really don't. And I know for the past couple of years, their commercials have been very, very controversial. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, last year was the one with Johnny Cash. He was singing Personal Jesus before he passed away, or that might have been 2 years ago. But they did a Johnny Cash one where it was going from image to image. They did one with the whole washing of the feet, which that one was very interesting. I think that was like 3 years ago. So it's like every year there is a commercial dedicated to Jesus. This year, I just didn't understand the point of that commercial, which is kind of interesting. So I thought about what happens when you rebrand. And sometimes, oh, thank you so much, King Ranch. I appreciate that. I really do. Um, Sometimes in our lives, we rebrand for various reasons. It could be positive reasons, it could be negative reasons, it could be educational reasons, it could be simply catastrophe reasons. And what I mean by rebranding, when you're with somebody, so say you're a couple, married couple, you're together, and people see you as a couple. So, like for example, with my ex, people only knew me and him as a couple. And then what ended up happening is when we broke, when we separated, when we broke off, there became a line divide with our friends, because it's almost like if, because of that change in situation, why should I continue to be friends with this person if I feel like this person was right, or vice versa? Why should I continue? And you sort of get comfortable with knowing a person as they are until they go through a major rebrand. So, for example, a breakup would be a rebrand. I know people will lose their friends constantly when they break up. Another rebrand would be somebody who maybe loses a lot of weight, which is ironic. When people are on a journey of weight loss or health or something like that, it is amazing how many people you would think would be supportive of you are actually, they pull away from you. And it could be a number of things. It could be an attitude adjustment. It could be a change of jealousy. It could be, I mean, it's just amazing, because one of the things is, in order for somebody to get into a program where they decide to change their life completely, they're going to have to change their mindset. And when they change their mindset, the people who knew them, their friends, their loved ones, and all these different things, are not going to be used to that mindset that they originally had. So as a result, they don't consider that person the same person that they were. I've seen that many times happen in my life. And what's interesting is, I've even seen it with my own life, turning to Jesus, turning to God. I've literally had people write to me, friends, people I've respected, that would say, because of your religious affiliations right now, I can no longer be your friend. And it makes me wonder, it's like, okay, what does my opinions on religion, or what is my opinions and my faith and my heart have to do with the two of us being friends? And that alone shows my individual bias, because I think in my head, we've been friends all this time. We've never talked religion. We never talked about our personal beliefs. And now all of a sudden, that because I make it publicly known that, hey, I believe in, I'm a faith, I believe in faith. I believe in God. Because of that, you're now outcasting me and denying me years of friendship because you don't like the fact that I turned to God. And I guess it shows a lot about how we view friendships and how we view relationships in so many different ways. And that's why, like I said, I was inspired by the whole rebranding idea, because, and I'll say this, I mean, it'll get me in trouble, but I watched the Super Bowl, I watched the commercials, I watched the halftime, I watched the other halftime. One halftime was clearly better than the other. I leave it up to you to determine which one. Um, the irony of it, this is the irony. One, I could not understand at all. The other one, I still couldn't understand at all. And they laughed at me. I have a severe problem with country music. That's one of the reasons why I don't necessarily listen to country music, because when somebody has a twang, for whatever reason, my brain cannot, when it's put to music, cannot understand what they're saying. So Chris and we were at this, his son Michael, like it was a party game for us. Religion and politics get ugly with opposite beliefs. Absolutely. I agree with you, Kevin. They absolutely do. And I always promote the idea of unity, love, acceptance, particularly acceptance of differences. And I mean, okay, I'm going to give kudos And like I said, I'm going back and forth because I officially watched both Super Bowl half times. I did. I watched both of them. And on one, I have to say, I agree with this. The only thing more powerful than hate is love. Correct. The only thing more powerful than hate that is love. I almost want to add something to that, which I know it's like destroying what the concept is, but not only love, but it's love for each other, love to a higher power, love to positivity, because you can have love in a very hateful manner. You really can. And I think we see that time and time and time again. You could be preaching love to the point that you cut everybody off to hatred because you don't see the big picture. You only and you know what I mean? And that can be a very, very thin line. They say that as well. There's a thin line between love and hate. And I always wondered about that until I actually felt that when I was in love with somebody for so many years, and that love instantly turned into a different emotion. It turned into anger. And I specifically don't like the word hate, but I do know that people have so much hate and darkness and blackness in their lives. They really do. And I feel like we are such at a war with each other that no matter what, people will divide themselves in the sake of their beliefs, their passions, and they do it in such a hateful, hurtful way without actually trying to unify and come together. Kevin says, Amen. Practice mercy over judgment. That's beautiful. I totally agree. Practice mercy over judgment. And I'll be honest, I'm probably one of the few people that neither understood either halftime show. I mean, not to sound. I mean, people are going to tear me apart. They'll be like, "You're this, you're that." Okay, one act to me seriously sounds like you threw a microphone to a rambling person that's having a seizure in whatever. That was to me. The other one, you threw a microphone to something I can't understand. I know they're speaking English. They're speaking English, but I can't understand and hear what they're saying because it's the consonants and pronunciation is wah. Yeah, country music is not my thing. I'm sorry. But I was impressed how different the stylization was. Because okay, on one end, the interpretation of the staging. I'm going to say on one end, the interpretation of the staging, for me, I still don't understand why people are not harping on that particular representation of the staging, where the other one, I have to admit, was okay. Great colors, very lively, very. And I'm like looking at the two, and I'm like, you could see the night and day between the two different ones. And that's why for me it was important to watch both of them, not to just watch one or watch or support one or. I mean, I came in really as a neutral party. I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch this one. I'm going to watch this one. I want to see, compare, contrast this and that. Neither one of them is in my genre. So I don't like this type of music, don't like this type of music. But I'm like, as an open mind, let me watch both of them. Let me see which is more entertainment, which got the crowd more going, which had a better beat. I mean, I leave that up to you guys. But in terms of rebranding, it was just amazing to see how, for this particular event, people changed their normal persona. So when you see one guy who definitely upped his game, got professional, looked good, very different from what his normal shows are. Then you have another group of people that are keeping to a specific patriotic mission and then, like I said, decided to go from his stage name down to his real name. It just shows a difference with, okay, we're changing things up, we're rebranding, we're going to introduce. Now, how is society going to accept it? Are they going to accept it with, I can't believe they did it, and start judging and pointing fingers? Is society going to be like, wow, there's more to this individual than just the one thing that I've seen? So, like I said, I was actually, both of them to me, okay, both of them, one clearly was a winner versus the other one, but both of them were a form of entertainment. Is it a form of entertainment for either one of them that I would pay money to go see? Honestly, for me, no. I would, if I was given a free concert to either one, I would probably refuse both of them. Or something, I would go to both of them and say, okay, yeah, yeah, I would go, but would I ever pay to see either one of them? No. Not my type of genre, not my type of thing, but that's what happens. Amen. Thank you so much. Um so like I said, I don't know. I leave the floor open to you guys to determine what you think. I do want to talk about just a couple of commercials because for me, I love the Super Bowl commercials. I always like to pay attention, and sometimes I miss them. So, like for example, the Jesus is More commercial, had no clue. I have no idea what their message they were trying to say. I don't even know how it tied into Jesus at all. And it literally was like I was watching a montage of nonsensical clips, and then at the end of it is Jesus is more. And the quote they said, I had to write this down because I'm still trying to figure out, is there's more to life than more. What if Jesus shows us how to find it? Which is a valid question. Okay, there's more to life than more. What if Jesus shows us how to find it? Which I guess that can be a question. There's more to life. Let Jesus show you the way, that there could be more out there. And it's one of the things that I say to like Chris and the kids. I'm like, if every day you can just stop and smell the roses, and every day you could take a little tiny break from your day to just change your mindset, become aware, just look at something that you normally would not see, then you know what's going to happen? You're then going to see the miracles. You're going to see the world around you. You're going to see this because this is one of the things like, okay, I have an acute awareness when I start watching things, and I look for symbolism. I look for subliminal messages, and we all know that they're subliminal. And yesterday, I pointed out so many subliminal messages that even Chris and Michael, they're looking at me. I'm like, I can't be the only one seeing this. Don't you see what they're doing? Don't you see what's going on? And they're like, no. And I feel like I'm in my own little world because here I am watching the same thing that they're watching, and yet I'm seeing the symbolism. I'm seeing how they're trying to do things layer upon layer. I see how they're exposing things. And I says, don't you realize, like with these commercials, they have the largest audience that they're ever going to get throughout, largest audience. And this is the time where if they're going to do anything, they're going to show you, they're going to do it. I still have the theory. We talked about this energy harvesting. I says, the Super Bowl, it's one big energy harvesting event. And that's exactly what they were doing. But the funny thing is, when I watched it yesterday, and even with Chris and Michael, there was no joy. There was no excitement. There was no, because usually when I watch a football event with them, which I really don't, but when I watch a football with them, they're like exciting. They're like, oh yeah, there's some sort of aggressive yelling at the TV. And I just felt like this time, the three of us were just watching just like if we're watching a movie just unfolding with us, just in silence, having I think I was more excited about the commercials than they were even excited about the game. And with some of the commercials, there was one with they were playing Living on Prayer with Bon Jovi. And I'm during the commercial, I'm like, oh come on, you gotta show Bon Jovi. You gotta, he's like, well, I said, they gotta show Bon Jovi. And sure enough, at the end of it, Bon Jovi is riding in his car with the cat or whatever, with the convertible and stuff like. I was like, see, and I guess both of them right over their head they missed it. I'm like, I told you Bon Jovi was, and I didn't even know the commercial. It was just me excited about it. It's like, oh, they're playing Bon Jovi. They need to show Bon Jovi in the commercial. Symbolism is oblivious and can clearly be hidden, not even clearly hidden. And that's what it is. And I think that's some people do not open their eyes to explore that symbolism. And it's just interesting because, like I said, a lot of commercials, even I was like, do you see what they're trying to say? Do you see what they're trying to do? And right over their head, they didn't get it. But I don't know. But for someone like me, because last year was the first time I've ever seen a football game live. Never seen a football game before. And of course, him and his son, they watch football. Um, I don't watch the whole game, but I guess yesterday we actually did watch the whole game. And like I said, I was surprised. There was no enthusiasm about this game. I mean, I mean, there was really, there was no clapping, there was no yelling at the screen, there was nothing. They were just watching it. And I even said, I'm like, are you even excited about this game? Like, and they're like, yeah, whatever. So I'm like, okay, well, we watched it, we had fun. So that's my little rant. I went on for about a half an hour in regards to the Super Bowl rant. I know everybody's going to hear about it, see about it. Everybody's going to have their own personal perspective about it. I just was thinking about it in the terms of rebranding, on how people change, how things are different, and when people change, how they get viewed. So I almost want to say, and I'm going to defend one side and defend the other side as well. So part of me wants to say, okay, from the Bad Bunny perspective, why didn't America give him a chance? Like, you know what I mean? Nobody says you had to enjoy it. Nobody says you needed to support him. But I feel like, okay, at least see something new and different that's outside of your box. That's how I viewed it on that. On the other hand, which to me, okay, clearly that was and this is my opinion, people might disagree, but clearly that opinion is the other show was a better show. It really was. It was more suitable for that type of All American game. It was more faith based, family based, culture based than the other side. And I mean, people will be like, well, no, that's what I leave it up to you. But the Super Bowl is not necessarily just for one type of song choice or artist or anything like that. They try to change it up. They try to do a variety. They do a different. I mean, like last year was Kendrick Lamar. Not my, but you know something. I watched it. It was a great show. I think the year before, and I mean every year, if you look at the different shows, it's whoever's in, whoever is the big artist of the year, whoever is the entertainer. The fact is, Bad Bunny is an entertainer. He has a following. It's something new and different. It's something we haven't seen. So my only thing was, why wasn't he? I mean, okay, he got his chance. Why didn't America give him a chance as well? That's how I look at it. Do you know who Cliff and Stuart Kinchy are? No, I do not, but I do believe somebody mentioned that I need to read his. They mentioned this the other day about him, Cliff Kinchy. That I haven't seen the videos yet, though, on him. But I will definitely look that up because you're not the only one who mentioned him. Hello, Golden. Welcome. Awesome halftime show. It was like one big party and a celebration. And like I said, Golden, I saw both of them. I saw one, I saw the other. For me, clearly one was, but both of them were neither my favorite genre of music. So that's why I gave both of them an equal chance. I thought one did a better job than the other, but I also thought one had some serious inappropriate symbolism to their halftime show, which I'm surprised looking at the comments, nobody is necessarily destroying that symbolism, which is interesting with the whole rebranding thing that I'm talking about. because obviously Bad Bunny rebranded, and obviously Kid Rock rebranded. So you've got two people who rebranded themselves strictly for this event, which is interesting. This type of event, which you know is going to cause controversy on both sides. People on either side of the fence are going to be at war with each other. Where I say, okay, you know something, people on both sides of the fence, why don't you give it an opportunity to watch both shows? Seriously, watch both shows. See what the message is. See what the symbolism is. I will tell you this. Okay, so you only saw Bad Bunnies. I saw both shows. Bad Bunny was not shown on regular YouTube at all, which a lot of the people, which was funny because they made the announcements, unless you had the YouTube TV subscription, which I do not have the YouTube TV subscription, but if you went on YouTube to watch the Bad Bunny show, the Bad Bunny part, you could not see it. Even the ones that said live Bad Bunny, they were I ended up watching the Bad Bunnies on TikTok. So TikTok, I was able to watch Bad Bunny, but YouTube you cannot. X stopped the other show, the Turning Point show, so you couldn't watch Turning Point on X. So it was just interesting that even to have access to either one of the shows was restricted depending upon which show you were watching. So X is like, no way, we're not doing Turning Point. Turning Point was obviously on YouTube without a problem. I saw Bad Bunny on both TikTok and on the live because I was going back and forth, and it no matter what, it was both of them were probably the most watched out of all of them. I mean, like out of any Super Bowl, I think that it broke numbers on both ends. It really did. I don't know who the clear winner is. I would think that the Turning Point might have been a clear winner. I could be wrong, but just looking at the numbers and looking at how it was spaced out, but I thought it was funny when you went to try to look for Bad Bunny on YouTube. If you didn't have a premium subscription, there was a lot of angry people like, "Where's Bad Bunny? Where's Bad Bunny?" And everybody was like, "He already performed," and even I was like, "Yeah, he already performed." Um, well, you know something? If you bet that Dharma, whatever your name is, you would bet wrong. So you watched neither. I assure Bad Bunny performance was more interested by an international crowd. And like I said, for me personally, I don't like either genre of music, but I watched both of them. And one, I feel like, because like I said, one, I could not understand the language. The other one, I could not understand what they were saying, even though they're speaking my language. So I was in a dilemma where, to me, completely lost in translation. So if I don't understand this one or this one and have no clue what either one was saying, because like I said, to me, country music is one of the worst genres for me, because when it comes to country music, I cannot understand a word they're saying, even though they're all speaking English. When they have that drawl and when they have that accent, it's like my brain cannot mix music and a country twang together. It literally, to me, it sounds like, okay, they're both speaking complete gibberish. Did you? Okay, that's a ridiculous question. Anyway, um, so I know I'm going to get haters in the crowd. I'm going to get haters that are like, oh, you're this. Oh, yeah, they're going to probably go through all the ist. I'm this ist. I'm that ist. I'm whatever. It's like whatever. Can I breathe? Of course I breathe. In fact, sizzle. Here's a beautiful thing, and this is beautiful. Do you realize that with every breath that you take, you are saying God's holy name? When you do the inhale and when you do the exhale, from the moment you are born, you are constantly repeating his name over and over and over again. And the moment you stop repeating his name is the moment your life ceases. And that is one of the beautiful things, that even if you say that you hate him, that you curse him, that you say that this or that is wrong, just bear in mind that from the moment you take your breath, you are saying God's name over and over again. And I think that's beautiful. So Anyway, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to read um, the quote of the day, which I do have to say. I'm going to read the quote of the day. Then we're going to go into a prayer. And then once we go into the prayer, we're going to continue on reading with Judges. We are on Judges chapter 18. So, and this happens to be the 91st show. Why should I answer? I see what you're writing. I mean, you're walking a thin line. Right now, you're saying one words and just asking a question. I will respectfully answer questions. Your questions are beyond ridiculous right now. You're literally writing one word with a question mark. So, okay, so your point. See, he literally is writing one word with a question mark. How? Okay, you just proved my point. So there you go. And I did answer. So anyway, so you know something, this is where I'm gonna say, sizzle, sit back, relax. If you've known my show, you've obviously just come in here to disrupt my show. If you know my show, then you would absolutely have the answer to every single one of those questions. But you're not even giving me the time to talk, to answer, or to do anything. You just instantly came here with judgments. So I'm not going to tolerate that. Like I said, this is my show. I can do what I want. So if you don't like it, there's a little finger. You'll just scroll on by. Or if not, like I said, have a seat, absorb, get the big picture, and then you'll know how I work. So for today, and I'm not selling this book or anything, but this is one of the books that I really, really enjoy because it's not meant to be a religious or Christian book. It's called 365 Days of Positive Self-Talk for Finding a Purpose. I took this out, and I think the beautiful thing is no matter who you accept as your higher power, these could apply to any and every belief system that you have. And I almost want to say is if we as an individual could just partially change our perspective instead of constantly spewing hate, instead of constantly spewing divide and separation, we could be coming together uniformly, accepting each other, tolerating each other, learning about each other, and seeing how we are together instead of constantly creating a divide. So let's see what this says. This one happens to be the 8th day, and it says, I have great value and an important purpose in life. I'm here for a reason, and my number one goal is to live for that reason. I think about it. I set my goals, and every day I work at achieving my goals. Now, just think about this for a second. I was just talking about it. I didn't even read what this was about, but I was just talking about this earlier where I was saying that I used to set goals for myself that were so beyond my reach that I never gave myself credit for the little advances I did in order to get to the goal. I kept making it further and further and further. And Nikki, quick question, put it in the chat. I mean, this is an open forum. Anybody can ask a question. If it's a ridiculous question, then you know what's going to happen. But are you really okay mentally, emotionally, and physically, to be honest? And you know something, Nikki? That is a beautiful question because, like I said, I'm on episode 91. If anybody has ever watched my shows, if you took the time to actually sit down, listen, and watch, you will know that answer. So, as everybody knows, I am on a personal journey. I am helping my mind, my body, and my spirit. And what's interesting about that is, spiritually speaking, I'm a believer. I wasn't a believer when I started. I really wasn't. Now, every day, I'm becoming more and more convinced of my faith. I'm becoming more and more happy with myself. On a physicality section, I am on an extreme nutritional change to my everyday lifestyle. I don't even call it a diet. I can't call it a diet because if I call it a diet, then I'm destined to fail. Because a diet is simply something that I am restricting myself so much, denying myself that I'm not giving my chance to live. No, I'm changing it because what I'm doing is I'm now taking charge of my nutritional sustenance that now comes into my body. So, yes, that's the physicality part. You asked about my mental part. Every day, it's important that I open up my mind, that I expand my mind, that I try to become calm, focused, loving, and togetherness. So, yes, when you say, am I okay? That's what it is. I am getting together to get my mind, my body, and my spirit all aligned. Now, interesting, DH, you say I look 18. You really think I look 18? I mean, I almost want to say you're trolling me on that one. However, I will say this, I do know I look younger than my age, but I wouldn't say that young. I really wouldn't say that young. But I mean, I'm not going to be ashamed for telling my age. I know some women are like, oh no, I'm 29. I will never say I'm 29. I'll be honest. I'm right now, I am 46, 45. I'm 45 years old. I'm going to be 46 this year. So as a 45-year-old, yeah, I've had a, a semi-long life. I really did. It's already night here in the Philippines. Well, welcome to the show, Nikki. If you want to stick around, but it is already night. If not, if you're going to sleep, have a great night. But I'm glad you stopped by. And like I said, even if you guys don't agree with my belief system, it doesn't mean that you can't stay here and actually possibly contribute. I actually enjoy when people can give me intelligent opposition that is respectful and we could talk about this. I mean, how many times I read the Bible and I say, okay, it can mean this, it can mean this, it can mean this. Now let's discuss it and see it. This is the first time I'm reading it, so this is a new eye for me as well. So I am going to be looking at this in a unique way. But I'm glad you're here. Thank you, Nikki. And like I said, questions are open. But when the questions are meant to literally derail the conversations, when the questions are meant to just try to say, see, I showed you, it's in the Bible, you're wrong, you're wrong. What's the point of that? If you can only point out the bad things of the Bible and not understand where the morality, where the opposition is, where it comes into play as to why it's so important that that is put in the Bible for future generations to read. If you can understand why, then you will never understand why it's so important that this is a living Bible. It's the truth. So I know I'm all over the place. I really am talking all over the place, but I think this is a good experience for people to have an open voice, to have dialogue together, to talk about things. Amen. Keep reading and seeking God's salvation through Jesus. Praise Jesus. Absolutely, Kevin. That is amazing. That I appreciate that. I really do. And I know it's Monday morning. I mean, I've been up all morning. I already took Chris to work. I already took Michael went back to school because he's in college. And there was like me running around this morning. And then it's like, something, I can finally come home. I can relax, have a little bit of breakfast, have my drink. Then we could sit here, we could discuss the Bible, and then I could learn something new. Stuff in the Bible coming true, like the Euphrates River dying, is terrifying. Yeah, so they were saying, I mean, I don't know the exact story, but something along the lines, if the Euphrates River dries up, that's a sign that I guess is a release of Lucifer or the demons or something like that that are tied up, and it's coming closer to the end of times. I do believe we are creating our own demise. Our society is killing us off in a very, very dangerous way. I don't know if it's going to turn out for the better. I don't know if we're going to have like just another complete eradication of everything. But yes, I do personally believe that unless we collectively come together and start embracing our differences and focusing on the love, because no matter what, I'm going to say this, that one of the Super Bowls did, the halftime shows did say this, and we all saw it. But the question is, how many people believe this? That the only thing more powerful than hate is love, and I think people will not accept that because even in their guise of love, they are filled with hatred, divide, and separation. So that's a tough thing. It really is. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up with a prayer because I absolutely love praying. I mean, I think when I pray, it's very, very interesting because, forgive me for saying this, it's almost as if it scatters the demons. It really does. I purposely open up my show where I don't say a prayer in the beginning because, something, I allow people to come in. You can say whatever you want to say, you can do whatever you want. We will have a discussion. We love Christian women like you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. It allows people to say whatever they want to say. If they want to say hurtful, disrespectful things, well, as long as it doesn't go against the terms of use. But when it's just to come in to destroy, to hate, without having that dialogue and talking about it, then obviously, yes, I'm going to mute. I do have a rule. I mute people. I don't block people. Some people do get blocked, but I don't tend to block people. And muting simply means you're muted for the duration of the show, which means you could still sit there, you could still listen to the show. Next show, you have the opportunity of coming back, which I find is so interesting. There are certain people that even though I muted them, they will constantly come back. And you know something? They prove themselves that they can be respectful because when they finally listen to what I'm saying, rather than being like this and like this, and only want to promote their own agenda, when they actually sit down and say, hey, wait a minute, maybe she's actually onto something. Maybe she's saying something that's right where she is trying to be. But no, when people coming in say, oh, she's all the ish, she's racist, she's misogynist, she's that, what's the point of that? It really isn't. Hello, edits. Welcome to Dance Mama. Welcome to the show. I'm glad that you're here. And that's all I say is like, something, if you're not interested in the show, just simply scroll on by. If you are interested in the show, then join in on the conversation, see where it lasts because we have an open discussion. We could talk about anything. Good morning, Sarah. How are you? I hope things are going well this week. So, yes, I spoke about the halftime commercials. Yes, I spoke about the Super Bowl commercials, which, like I said, I'm still trying to understand that Jesus one. I had to watch it a couple of times, and I'm like, the power of it is there's more to life than more. What if Jesus shows us how to find it? So I almost want to say they were trying to say, like, just stop for a moment. There is more to life. Jesus can show you that there's more to the world. But as I'm watching the commercial, I'm not getting the significance of the montage that they went through. Like it was lost in translation on me, which, something, maybe that's the case. However, I did catch on to so much of the subliminal messaging. I mean, there was one commercial that I had to crack up because they said it quickly. And oh, who did I put on? Both of them. I had, oh, who put it on? The Jesus commercial? The Jesus commercial put hegetsus.com is the name of the organization. He Gets Us. I'm not too sure what their religious affiliation is. I mean, I guess I could look that up right now, but it's hegetsus.com. They do this every single year. And I'm not too sure if it's a Christian base or is it Jehovah's Witness. Like, I never really looked into what their ideology is, but I do know the last couple of times that they did these commercials. Oh, it's a super woke. Like, see, I don't know what their religious affiliation is. I do know that the last couple of times that they did these commercials, they were very. You felt it, like they tugged at the heartstrings. This one, I felt nothing. Like there was nothing. Like I didn't even understand the imagery to it. I think yes, exactly. Last time they had the one about washing the feet, where they excellent. That's one of them I was going to point out, Golden. Yes, they had one about washing the feet. They did one with where they had Johnny Cash singing "Personal Jesus." So it's usually some sort of controversy, but I was watching the whole commercial when I first saw it, and I even said to Chris, I'm like, Chris, what are they advertising? Like throughout the whole thing, there was like no reference to anything until you get to the end, and they're like, oh, okay, so this is the Jesus commercial. And then I turned to him, I'm like, okay, what was that supposed to mean? That was the same thing with the sing along. They did the sing along karaoke style, and I almost wanted to record it because when they did the karaoke of everybody rock here, and I'm like, uh, No, not Backstreet. Whatever. It was NSYNC or whatever. When they did the karaoke sing along, I was singing along with it, and Chris is looking at me. I'm like, "Come on, sing! It's karaoke." I had no idea who was even advertising that commercial until it got to the end, and I think it was some sort of Bitcoin or something like that, or some monetary company for digital currency. So I'm like, that's another commercial that, yeah, I remember the commercial, but the what it's advertising or who it's advertising for, right over my head. It didn't matter. Yes, but they insinuate Jesus didn't tell people go and sin no more. Oh, so their ideology is that you can do whatever you want, even if it's in sin, sort of thing. I mean, like I said, I don't know. I've never gone to hegetsus.com. I just like, okay, so it's a Jesus group. Never looked at it, never. I mean, it could have been Jehovah's Witness, could have been Mormon, could have been I don't know what they are, but it's like, okay, do I want to go to the website? I'm going to the website now. I don't see anything that explains anything about this group. They're showing the same commercial that still doesn't make sense to me. So it's like, so I almost want to say this is where they fail at this because, all right, I'm going through the website. This is telling me absolutely nothing about who they are, what they do. It's just going on and on. It's, yeah. So I almost want to say that that's technically a slight failure because, all right, yes, I went to it to see what they are. I just spent like a minute or two on the website. I still don't know what their agenda is. So for me, it's like, okay, whatever. There's no reason to go to that site again. But on the flip side, at least possibly it exposed people to Jesus. I don't know. Like I said, I didn't get the message at all. On the alternate turning point, uh the turning point halftime show, it obviously was faith based. I mean, they were even saying, I don't know any of the songs. Like, country to me is like nothing. And Chris and Michael obviously love country music, so they were rocking along with it like it was the best thing. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Like both styles, both halftime shows to me, neither one of my style. So they're rocking out to them, and they even pointed out how Kid Rock added lyrics to his song in honor of Jesus. And I wouldn't have catch that. To me, I absolutely would not have catch that. I'm like, I don't even know what they're saying. To me, they were speaking another language. I think the only thing I did understand is when he actually was um, speaking gibberish with his background, like da 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 dang dang dang. Because I know that little background music. I'm like, that's the only thing I understood out of the whole show. So, welcome, William. Welcome, Mafia. Oh, and Queen. Welcome to the show, everyone. So yeah, it's all over the place. Broccoli. You know what I want to say to the broccoli? Yeah, go look up the thing chopping broccoli. That's funny. Chopping broccoli. Hey, I can laugh too. It's what can I say? I can laugh too. But the only commercial that really stood out for me, and I'm actually upset because they cut the commercial, which makes it so glad as to why I saw it beforehand, and now it makes sense why they released it beforehand. Was I'm going to go back to it, the Budweiser commercial. To me, if there's any commercial that just completely stood out as the best commercial, but they reduced it so much for the Super Bowl that you lost the storyline of what it was actually saying, is go watch the full commercial of the Budweiser, particularly when the Clydesdale jumping over the log with the wings. Wow. I mean, I almost want to take that particular scene and just make a picture of it and put it on my wall because I just think that that's such a beautiful and powerful imagery with the Clydesdale and the eagle on his back. So that to me was like one of the most yeah, that was a cool commercial. I don't know, Sarah, if you saw the whole commercial because like I said, if you saw it on the Super Bowl, they reduced it down. I think it was like a 2-minute commercial that they reduced down to like 30 seconds. So a lot of the storyline was missed. But then when you watch the whole story, okay, just last night, If you get an opportunity, definitely go on either TikTok or YouTube. They're on both. Put in the entire commercial because there's more background story to the colt and the little tiny bird. And it actually shows the entire growth process of when he becomes. I'm getting choked up. I'm sorry. And it's actually a sad commercial. So for me, absolutely beautiful commercial. They released it last week, so people saw the commercial already, and I was actually waiting for it because I wanted to see at what point were they going to show this commercial. So when they finally showed the commercial, I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, they cut it so short that you miss the whole storyline, particularly at the end where the old man is saying, like, are you crying? And the old man's like, I got something in my eye. When you watch the whole commercial, you'll understand why he was crying because it's that emotional when you get to the end of it. All right. Well, anyway, so that was my Super Bowl. Aside from that, yeah, go definitely go look it up. It's really a good commercial. Aside from that, the fact is, Chris came home. I'm gonna start crying. Chris came home. It was for me. It was. I mean, we had our Saturday together. Our Saturday was amazing, absolutely amazing. And then even Sunday, we spent time with his family. We spent time watching Super Bowl. It was like Saturday and Sunday was the whole. I mean, it embraced everything. It embraced family. It embraced faith. It embraced our togetherness. And I mean, I even said to him, like, just holding his hand, because I was holding his hand, and I says, "You don't understand. Just holding you is like I'm recharging." I says, "I don't even like it. It's a recharge." 777. Like, is that not a sign? 777. Okay, where did 777? Did I miss something? But yes, when something comes up in numbers, Clayton, to me, it's actually interesting. Oh, in fact, there was one commercial. There was one commercial that nobody got the reference, and I pointed it out right away. And I'm like, this is funny. And the thing is, in the commercial, they were throwing out numbers. And the number they threw out was 69.7 with a space. And I laughed at that. I cracked up laughing. And they're looking at me, they're like, and I says, do you not see what just happened? He's like, what? I said, 69.7. And they still, I'm like, it's right over your head because I'm thinking 6, 7, 69 is the battle between the two. I says that commercial flipped it so quickly, but didn't you see 69 and then 7? So it was clicking the 69 people and the 6, 7 people. And I will say this, which I cracked up laughing because the first thing of the game, the score was 6-0. And I said to them, this would be hilarious if they score a touchdown and the score would be 6-7. I says, do you know what a generational, oh my God, if the score was 6-7? I mean, you would be hearing about it. And I says, come on, I wanted them just to get a touchdown just at that point, just so we could say 6-7 on the thing. But it didn't happen. I'm like, darn, they got their field goal, so the score went from 6-9. Tony, if you have a question, throw it in the chat. If it's a respectable question, I absolutely will answer it. If it's one of those stupidity questions, you're just going to be making a fool of yourself. But please, feel free to ask a question. It's open forum. We love questions, and I like to talk as well if it's not obvious. And if it's a good question that's on track, let's talk about it. If not, then I'm going to go straight to a prayer, and we're going to start the Bible. That's how I look at it. But yeah, subliminal messages, those are my things. Yeah, I need a drink. I know maybe I'm a little too hyper. Like I said, I was up early. I had to take Chris to work, which I feel bad. This is his first day back to work. And his first day back to work, he's now on call for the next 4 days. And he even said to them, I'm like, they're not even giving you a chance to like go back to work, settle in, to find out what's been gone for the past 4 weeks, because he hasn't been to work 3 weeks. He was shipped to another base, and I'm like, you haven't been there for 3 weeks. It's like, so he may come home on time, he may not come home on time. Who knows when he's coming home? But oh, you love my energy. Thank you so much, Golden. I appreciate that. Sometimes I actually have a point to my show. Other times it's like, let's just see what happens. Today I called my show Rebranding because I just think it shows an interesting perspective when people change their ways and how other people see them. And I talked about, and I'm still waiting for a question. We never got the question. So I'm assuming they got angry because I didn't answer a question right away. So, I'm assuming poof, they went bye bye because they didn't like that impatient. You guys have to be patient. Sometimes it takes me a couple of minutes before I get to see what you guys are saying. So if you have no patience, then you know something. There's no reason to be in my life. But yeah, so one of the things that I pointed out, Golden, earlier was for me with the rebranding, it's amazing how many friends I've lost. Interesting. How many friends I've lost. Good morning, Angel. Welcome to the show. Because they're so against that I am trying to find my faith, that I'm trying to find my belief system, that I'm trying to do this Bible reading. They think it's disgusting. They think I don't know. I'm like, these are people that I've spent years with knowing. And religion has never, ever been an issue for anything. It has never been, and it's like, am I treating them any differently simply because I'm now finding myself and finding a purpose and finding happiness? I don't see that I am, but yet it's not that I'm treating differently. They literally point, I says, how is it that just me changing my mindset, trying to improve myself, to get myself better, how is that so offensive that you no longer want to be my friend? And they literally say it's because your ideology and your belief system. And I'm like, my ideology and belief system, how is it any different that now I'm saying, you know something? I do believe that God exists. I believe, and maybe that's what it is. They can't, I've changed so much. I really don't know. But I get angry when people are like, oh, if you believe in this, if you voted for this person, you're no longer my friend. I almost want to say how shallow of a person that you are going to end years of friendship simply because they don't agree or they voted for somebody. So I almost want to say is this is interesting with the whole free will, which we were discussing free will a couple of times. Darkness doesn't have fellowship with light. And it's interesting. I finally changed my name back, so I'm back to Melanie Lightbeam. I'm happy with that. I've always said that no matter how dark your world is, there is always a light. And maybe at times I never understood what that light is. I could honestly say that because, like I said, since I was 16 years old, and that's going back quite a number of years 1996, 1997. All right, so since I was, this has always been a version of my screen name. I always had the light. It was originally a moonbeam of light, but like there always was light or light beam in that. So I pretty much kept the same name throughout my life because that was so important to me, that even in a world of darkness there's always a light. So now I knew how many times I've lost my life in my life. In my life. I'm trying not to say the same word. In my life, I have lost my light many times. And when my light was diffused or broken down or blown out, I was left with darkness. I mean, okay, this is a Pokemon reference. I have to apologize, but I think this is one of the most sad and beautiful references I ever seen in Pokemon. So there is a Pokemon Charmander. Charmander is like a little cute red dinosaur that has a little tail with a tiny little fire at the end of the tail. And the thing about Charmander is if his light gets blown out, he dies. So he has to protect that little fire. And what happens was Charmander was in the rain and he's huddled up with like a little tiny leaf trying to save his fire, that his fire doesn't go out, and he's shaking in the cold. And that was such a powerful image for me. And I know it's a stupid, silly cartoon, people, but hey, I was into Pokemon. Pokemon's been around for years. But like I said, this little tiny Charmander with his little flame. And in the end, of course, he gets saved and he ends up growing into the big Charizard, which Charizard is one of the most powerful Pokemon. So he went from this little tiny thing with a flame that was being extinguished where he would have died to this big powerful Pokemon that's like a dragon, T-Rex, dinosaur, whatever it is. It's a beautiful Pokemon. But and he flies and everything like that. So I mean, I guess there were times in my life that I felt like my light was dwindling down and I had to protect it with the little leaf. So that's beautiful. That touched my heart. I'm sorry, guys. All right. I think it's time. Let's say a prayer. I absolutely want to say a prayer and I want to say thank you for so many things. So at this time, like I said, I'm going to pray to Jesus. I'm going to pray to God. I'm going to pray to the Heavenly Father. You can take this time to pray to whoever you want. Or you can take this time not to pray to everyone, anyone. That is your choice. And I leave that to your choice. And I know what it's like for me personally not to have something to pray to, and I know what it's like when people are around you are praying and you just like roll your eyes and you do like this. It's like, okay, can we get this over with? I just realized how personally miserable I was with that type of attitude. So even if you don't believe, look within and take a moment for yourself to really analyze and find what your own purpose is and what your own light and what your own individuality is. And I think that could change your perspective of everything. Hello, Zian. Welcome to the show. So let me start off with a prayer. So, dear Heavenly Father, I come to you this morning with so much thanks, so much gratefulness for what you've given me, what you've granted me, and what you've done for everybody in my life. You have allowed Chris to come home safe and sound and happy and energetic as ever. You have given me and granted me that chance to be with family together on this wonderful weekend. Today, as we do this show, you have given me the chance to explore, talk, and analyze various topics with everybody. I hope that we can read your Bible, understand the words you have to say, and that you grant us wisdom, understanding, and clarity for everything we have. I thank you so much for the wonderful things you have done in my life, and I hope that you were able to bless and grace everyone and anyone in this chat who truly asks for your help and guidance. In Jesus' name, amen. So, like I said, I think that's very important. And I'm realizing something because I've been seeing this. When it comes to prayer, is it just merely words or is there feeling? I think there have been times for me that it was just words, but now I'm starting to actually feel thankful and grateful for the littlest things, like the littlest things. And I mean, I have so many stories I want to share. I don't even know what to share. Like I often wonder, like, should I go there? Should I not go there? But I just want to know. I just want there to be an understanding, even if it's not you. But I want him to understand how grateful, happy, and appreciative that I am. I really am. And you know something? I want to continue to grow in faith. I want to continue to grow in the control over my body because once again, this is a journey of my mind, body, and spirit. Like somebody said to me, I'm like, you know something? Even if people come in and make fun of my weight, I don't care if they make fun of my weight. That's my entire life. Nobody's going to say anything that I haven't heard before. Sometimes they might say something that surprises me, but I've heard it all, done it all. I also know that this is going to be a journey for me that's not going to be an overnight success. It's not going to be something that, hey, tomorrow I could easily drop 100 pounds in that. No, it's not going to be. This is something that's going to require constant control, self control, dedication, prayer. It's going to involve sacrifice. It's going to involve changing my mentality and changing the ways around. I mean, I will tell you, this weekend was hard. I know I cheated. I did cheat. I cheated off of my diet. And it was interesting because we went out and got all kinds of chips and snacks and stuff like that. And I realized I overindulged in things I haven't had for weeks. And what did I do first thing this morning? I said to Michael, because he's a college boy, I says, "You're taking the stuff back to the dorm with you." I'm like, "Share it with your whatever. I don't want it in the house." So I gave him the cookies, I gave him the chips. Like, I don't want it in the house. We indulged, we had a great time. Now take it with you. You could have snacks, share it with your roommates or whatever. I don't care. But it's gonna be hard, and it's my journey. All right, so let's get to chapter 18. We are doing Judges chapter 18. It's 91st show. Now, where we are now is we just finished with Samson and Delilah. So I'm actually surprised, and I almost feel like the same thing happened with Noah, because in my head, when they tell these stories, I feel like it's going to be this massive, long, epic story. The story of Samson and Delilah was relatively short. It only took one chapter to really discuss it. And then that was it. Now we're moving on. Same thing with Noah and the Great Flood. It was literally just a couple of chapters and that's it. Moses, on the other hand, took book after book after book. So I understand why the focus was on Moses. But I feel like in my head, a lot of these stories are so more expansive, or is it just the way that they teach churchgoers? Because, like I said, I thought there was more to the story than Samson and Delilah. Obviously, there wasn't. Okay, so now we're getting to the story of Micah. So Micah is now the new leader, I guess, who's now well, it's the whole priest thing, and I think this is going to be interesting because Micah is trying to do a church for God, but it's making it appear that this is a false idol. Like he grabbed a Levite to be his priest. He's trying to mimic. I'm just trying to see if he's trying to do this for the good of it, or if there's a darker intention as to him doing this whole church thing. So, because I almost want to say this is like a false god, false. So I want to see how it develops. So we are on chapter 18, and because the last line it says, "Then said Micah, now I know that the Lord will do me good, seeing I have a Levite to my priests." So it's making me sound like he's trying to impress the Lord. And my attitude is, I think he's going about it the wrong way. And I think that's where the lesson is going to come into play. But I'm not too sure if they're going to continue with that lesson. So let's see. We're on chapter 18. Let me grab my pen, and we are on Judges. So in those days, there was no king in Israel. And in those days, the tribe of the Danites sought them an inheritance to dwell in. For unto the day of all their inheritance has not fallen unto them among the tribes of Israel. And the children of Dan sent out their family 5 men from the coast, men of valor from Zorah, from Eshtaol, to spy out the land and to search it. And they said unto him, Go search the land. When they come to Mount Ephraim, to the house of Micah that they lodged in. Okay, so now this is interesting. Okay, so this is almost reaffirming the fact that what Micah is doing might not necessarily be in the Lord's favor. So now these children are going to come to the house of Micah. So let's see what happens. When they were at the house of Micah, they knew the voice of the young man, the Levite, who they turned in thither and said unto them, Who brought thee here? And what makest thou this place? What hast thou done here? Okay, which makes sense. It's like, okay, wait a minute. There's a Levite here. There's a tabernacle here. Who's done this? Why is that? So it's making sense that it's bringing up questions of like, why is this here? And he said unto them, thus and thus dealeth Michael with me. He had hired me, and I am his priest. So he's basically saying, Micah hired me as a priest. That's why I'm here. And they said unto him, ask counsel, we pray thee, of God, that we may know whether our way which we go shall be prosperous. All right, so they're warning him. They're like, wait a minute, you need to pray to God, whatever it is that you're doing. So even they saw that there was something that was not right here. So they're saying, ask counsel of God. Is this going to be, is this a prosperous idea? Or is this your insulting the Lord's behalf? Because there's a very real chance that they are introducing the falseness of ideology into this. It sounds like they shouldn't be doing this, which makes sense. Simply ask God. He's saying, look to God, ask counsel of this, whether we shall be prosperous or not, which I almost wanted to know. Did Micah do that? Because this was all envisioned in his head. I don't think he turned to God and saying, this is what he might have been listening to demons or something. But let's see what this says. And the priest said unto them, go in peace, before the Lord is your way where you go. And the 5 men departed and came to a lavish, and saw that the people were there, how they dwelt in carelessness, after the manner of the Zidonians. Okay, that's the word, Zidonians. JQ. Welcome back to the show, JQ. Okay. Did you salute and goose step to Kid Rock's? So he's referring to the conversation we had yesterday about the Bellamy salute. Very, very interesting. That's exactly what he's calling. He's calling it the N salute. The origins is actually called the Bellamy salute. And what's interesting about that particular salute is before World War II, before that time, that particular salute was how children were showing their patriotism to the American flag. So in the 40s and below, when a child was in a classroom, they would do a Bellamy salute to the flag, proclaiming their nationalism to the flag, which is, come on and speak the truth. I'm absolutely speaking the truth. This is true. Look up the history of the Bellamy salute. I almost want to say, I mean, you're coming in saying that, so then I'm giving you the truth. Look up the history of the Bellamy salute, which you're calling the N salute, and then come back to me and tell me I'm not speaking the truth. Anyway, let me keep going. The 5 men departed and came to Lavish, and saw the people thereof, and how dwelt they careless in the manners of the Zidonians. They were quiet and secure. And there was no magistrate in the land that might put them to shame in anything. And they were far from the Zidonians, and they had no business with any man. And they came unto their brethren to Zorah and Eshtaol, and their brethren said unto them, what say ye? Why don't you condemn that behavior before you block me? Because once again, JQ, you're coming in and doing exactly the same thing. So I'm not going to block you. So once again, I'm going to simply silence you. I gave you a respectful answer, just like you wanted. I gave you some information, and you're taking it that you would rather incite violence, and you rather say that I'm not speaking the truth when I'm actually speaking the truth and giving you a lesson. So you want me to speak truth? Look up the history of the Bellamy salute. And maybe that will open your eyes, because just because somebody attaches hate to something doesn't necessarily mean that was the symbolism of hate. And that's just very important. I mean, you could easily look at the history of a specific symbol that I can't even say the S name of that symbol because it's against terms of use. And even with that symbol has a history of peace and love, and yet it took an atrocity to turn that around. That's why you'll see that particular symbol on. I'm going to tell you a true story. I'm going to pause here for a second. And this is a true story. There is a building here in town. And when you look at the building, it has those particular symbols etched around the building. And it's interesting. It's etched in the building. It's carved in the stone of the building. And the reason it's etched in the building is because that particular, in the Native American culture, which part of me questions that, but in the Native American culture, that particular symbol was a sign of health, fortune, and prosperity. And because of that, they adorned the entire side of the building with that. If I dare show that here, people are going to say, oh, what? Is this supposed to be Germany during that time? And that's why, no, this building is in Texas, of all places. But the building was built before that time, and they honored it by putting Native American symbols on that building. So etched along the line of that building are the bad S words that I can't even say. So very interesting history. I almost want to say, before somebody comes in to try to just promote hate, do at least some deep diving on what you're hating, because sometimes it's not necessarily hateful. In fact, I almost want to throw back a lesson from yesterday's halftime show. The only thing more powerful than hate is love. But what I want to add to that is hate still has power in it as well. So while love could be more powerful, people put more power into hate. And I think that's what's sad about society. All right, let me keep going. So we are on chapter 18. I'm sorry, chapter 18, verse 9. And they said, arise that we may go up against them, for we have seen the land, and behold, it is very good. And are ye still? Be not slothful to go and enter to possess the land. So basically, they want to say, look, the Dans, they are entitled to this land. We still have not been given our inheritance. So let's go in, possess this land. But why are they being so slow to take this land? When ye go, ye shall come unto a people secure to a large land. For God had given it unto your hands, and the place where there is no want of anything that is in the earth. And there from then the family of the Danites, out of Zorah, out of Eshtaol, 600 men appointed with weapons of war. And they went up and pitched in Kirjath-jearim in Judah. Wherefore they called it that place Mahanedon unto this day. Behold, it is behind Kirjath-jearim. And they passed once onto the Mount Ephraim, and came to the house of Micah. They're coming to Micah. Let's see what it has to say. Then answered the 5 men that went to spy out the country of the Laish, and said unto their brethren, do ye know that there is in these houses an ephod, a teraphim, and graven images, and molten images? Now therefore consider what ye have to do. So they're even saying, they're like, because he was fastening the ephod, which was the breastplate, the armor of the priest. He had the staff. So he had all these images taken from the tabernacle of the children of Israel. But this is like a travesty. This is a blasphemy of the Lord, because they're creating molten images and stuff like that. So let's see how it develops, because he even hired a Levite to try to promote this as a place of worship, but it's a false place of worship. It's a bad thing. They turned their war and came to the house of the young man, the Levite, even unto the house of Michael, and saluted him. And the 600 men appointed with their weapons of war, which were of the children of Dan, stood by the entering of the gate. And when the 5 men that went to spy out the land went up and came there, took the graven image and the ephod and the teraphim and the molten image, and the priest stood in the entering of the gate with 600 men that were appointed with weapons of war. And these went into Micah's house and fetched the carved image, the ephod, the teraphim, and the molten image. Then said to the priest unto them, what do ye? So what do we do? And he said unto them, Hold thy peace, lay thy hand upon thy mouth, and go with us, and to be us a father and a priest. It is better for thee to be a priest into the house of one man, or that be a priest unto the tribe and family of Israel. Okay, interesting. So they're giving him a choice. Is it better just to be a priest for one man, who would be Micah, or you could come with us, be a priest for the tribe of your whole family? And the priestess, dial. Love, what does the Bible say about gluttony? You know, something, you think you're doing something special, whatever. I'm going to pray for you, Dial. I absolutely pray for you. The priest's heart was glad, and they took the ephod and the teraphim and the graven images and went in the midst of the people. So they turned and departed and put the little ones in cattles and carriage before them. And when they were good way from the house of Micah, the men that were in the houses near to Micah gathered together and overtook the children of Dan. And they cried unto the children of Dan, and they turned their faces and said unto Micah, What all thee that thou comest with me with such company? So basically, what they're doing is he's asking them, it's like, how can you come here with such company? Because basically, that's what he's doing. He's trying to come here to bring like hatred, to bring war. So that's what it is. He's bringing war because they're going to take away their idols. They're going to take away um, their Levite, their priest. And he says, Ye have taken my gods, which I made. And the priest, I literally just said it, it's saying here. And ye have gone away. And what have I more? What is that ye see unto me? What aileth thee? And the children of Dan said unto him, Let not thy voice be heard among us, lest angry fellows run up to thee, and thou wilt lose thy life, with the lives of thy household. And the children of Dan went their way. And when Micah saw that they were too strong for him, he turned and went back into his house. And they took the things which Micah had made, and the priests which had come unto Laish, and the people that were quiet and secure, and they smote them with the edge of the sword, and burnt the city with fire. And there was no deliverer, because it was far from Zidon, and it had no business with any man. And it was in the valley that lied by Bezerah, and the city they built that dwell therein. And they called the name of the city Dan, after the name Dan of their father, who was born unto Israel. Howbeit the name of the city was Laish at first. And the children of Dan set up the graven image, and Jonathan, the son of Gershom, the son of Manasseh, has set unto his son were priests to the tribe of Dan until the day of the captivity of the land. And they set him up in Micah's graven image, which he made all the time that the house of God was in Shiloh. So they ended up, oh, thank you, Darlo. I appreciate that. God bless you and your family as well. Welcome to the show. I appreciate that. So now this is just a small story. I have a feeling that we're done. They basically, Micah tried to set up his own church, his own idols and stuff like that. The Dons, they came in, they killed them all. They're like, no, but they took the images, they took everything. So it sounds like they are continuing with the evil ways, because rather than taking the images and burning and destroy them, it looks like they took the images for themselves. So it's like they're just, what's the term? They're just passing down the generational curse of these images, if that makes sense. They're just doing even more bad with it. But let's go to chapter 19. I just want to see something. How long is... Oh, okay, so it's not that long. There's only 21 chapters in this. So let's see how far we get. Maybe we might even be done with Judges. I was actually misunderstood about Judges. I thought this would be a chapter about being judgmental. No, it's literally Judges is more of the lines of who's taking control and leading the area at the time, which they call judges. So these are each little conquest of every little area, and then who's going to be in charge. All right, so chapter 19. It came to pass in those days, when there was no king in Israel, that there was a certain Levite sojourning on the side of the Mount of Ephraim, who took to him a concubine out of Bethlehem, Judah. And his concubine played the whore against him and went away from him unto her father's house to Bethlehem, Judah, and there were 4 whole months. Oh, Clayton, I popped on your For You page again. Love you. Thank you so much. Welcome to the show. Her husband arose and went after her to speak friendly unto her and bring her again, having his servant with him and a couple of asses, and she brought him into her father's house. And when the father of the damsel saw him, he rejoiced to meet him. And the father-in-law, the damsel's father, retained him, and he abode with him 3 days. So they did eat and drink and lodge there. And it came to pass on the 4th day, when they arose early in the morning, that he rose up to depart. And the damsel's father said unto his son-in-law, Comfort thine heart with a morsel of bread, and afterward go your separate ways. And they sat down and ate and drank, both of them together. For the damsel's father had said unto the man, Be content, I pray thee, and tarry all night, and let thy heart be merry. So basically, he wanted to marry off this woman, this damsel, but she is a whore. Yeah. Let's see how this goes out. And when the man rose up to depart, his father-in-law urged him. Therefore he lodged again. And he arose early in the morning of the 5th day to depart. And the damsel's father said, Comfort thy heart, I pray thee. And they tarried until the afternoon, and they did eat, both of them. And when the man rose up to depart, he and his concubine and his servant, his father-in-law, the damsel's father, said unto him, Behold, now the day draweth towards the evening. I pray you tarry all night. Behold, the day groweth to an end. Lodge here, that thy heart may be merry, and to be morrow get you early on your way, that thou may go home. Okay, so basically, he's teasing them. Each day, he's pretty much saying, okay, like just have some fun tonight, then you could go on your way. Oh, wait a minute, have some fun tonight, then. So he's keeping them there. And I guess the whole tarry thing is they're getting their freak on. So yeah, they're getting their freak on and having fun. And then he says, like, have fun, then you could go your merry way. Let's see what's going on. But the man would not tarry that night, but he rose up and departed and came over against Jebus, which is in Jerusalem. Jebus. Any relation to Jesus? Jebus. And there were the 2 asses saddled, and a concubine also was with them. And when they were by Jebus, the day was far spent. And the servant said unto his master, Come, I pray thee, and let us turn into a city of the Jebusites, and lodge into it. And the master said unto him, We will not turn aside here into the city of a stranger. That is not the children of Israel. We will pass over to Gibeah. And they said unto the servant, Come and let us draw near to one of these places to lodge all night, in Gibeah or in Ramah. Excuse me. And they passed on and went their way. And the sun went down upon them where they were by Gibeah, and belongeth to Benjamin. And they turned aside there to go in and to lodge in Gibeah. And when they went in, he sat down in the street, for there was no man that took them into his house for lodging. And behold, there came an old man from his work out of his field, and was also of the Mount Ephraim, and he sojourned in Gibeah. But the men of the place were Benjamites. Excuse me, I got a little tickle in my throat. Excuse me. And when he had lifted up his eyes, he saw the wayfaring man, and in the streets of the city. And the old man said, Whither thou goest, and whence thou come? And he said unto them, We are passing from Bethlehem, Judah, towards the side of the Mount of Ephraim. From thence I am. And I went to Bethlehem, Judah, and I am now going to the house of the Lord. And there no man that receiveth me to the house. Yet there is both straw and provender for our asses. There is bread and wine also for me, and for thy handmaid, and for the young man which is thy servants. There is no want of anything. And the old man said, Peace be with you. Whosoever let all thy wants lie upon me, only lodge not in the street. So he brought them into his house and gave provender unto the asses, and they washed their feet, and they did eat and drink. So basically, he divided them in. He's like, come on and I'll invite you. Now, as they were making their hearts merry, behold, the men of the city, certain sons of Bethuel, beset the house round about and beat at the door, wanting to speak to the master of the house, the old man, saying, bring forth the man that came into thy house, that we may know him. Okay, interesting, because this is the same thing they did in Sodom and Gomorrah with Lot. So Lot brought the angel in, and the men were beating on the door saying, bring them out so we get to know them. And in that respect is getting to know them wasn't to interview them. Getting to know them was to essay them, use the R word. So I'm wondering if that's the same case. Bring out these men so we may get to know them. And the man and the master of the house went out unto them and said, nay, my brethren, I pray thee, do not do so wickedly. Seeing that this man come into my house, do not do this folly. So yeah, they want to essay this guy. That's what they want to do. They want to essay this guy. Behold, here is my daughter, a maiden, and his concubine. Them I will bring out now, and humble ye them, and do with them what seem good unto you. But unto this man do not do such a vile thing. Okay, this is the exact story of Lot. They're given the same story, because even in that times he offered his daughter. Lot said, here is my daughter, I pray you do not do these. So we're getting once again a repeat in history. This is the exact same story. So let's see how this changes now. But the men would not hearken unto them. So the man took his concubine. See, in the last one, they didn't take the daughters at all. The daughters were protected. But it sounds like they're taking him here. But the men would not hearken to him. So the man took his concubine, brought her forth unto them, and they knew her and abused her all the night unto the morning. And when the day began the spring, they let her go. So basically, yes, this is biblical essaying. So they wanted to essay the man. But as the master of the house, he says, no, you're not going to be doing this wickedly thing. Instead of doing this wickedly thing with a man, you are going to be doing this with a woman. Metallic purple, I am on Judges chapter 19, verse 25. Okay, so verse 25. So basically, we are talking about biblical essaying right now. I can't say the word, I have to be careful. But this is the same story of Lot. The only difference with Lot and Sodom of Gomorrah, they never actually essayed his daughter. Lot offered, like, look, instead of doing the evil thing with this man, here is my daughter. I give you my daughter instead. Well, the angels intervened in that case. His daughter was protected, and then they told Lot to go take everything, go out, and they ended up destroying Sodom and Gomorrah. In this case, they did take the woman. So he offered the daughter, a maiden, and his concubine. So it said, instead of essaying this guy, here's my daughter, here's my concubine, and that's exactly what they did. But the men would not hearken. So the man took his concubine, brought her forth into them, and they knew her and abused her all the night unto the morning. And when the day began to spring, they let her go. So they had their ways all night long, and then finally let her go. Then came the woman in the dawning of the day, and fell down at the door of the man's house where her Lord was, till it was light. And her Lord rose up in the morning, and opened the doors of the house, and went out to go his way. And behold, the woman his concubine was fallen down at the door of the house, and her hands were upon the threshold. And he set her up, and let us be going. But none answered. The man took her up, upon an ass, and the man rose up and got him into the place. And when he come into his house, he took a knife and laid hold on his concubine and divided her, together with her bones, into 12 pieces, and sent her all the coast of Israel. And it was so that they all saw it and said, there was no such deed done, nor seen from the day that the children of Israel came up out of the land to Egypt. Consider of this, take advice, and speak your minds. That is horrific. I'm sorry. That is a strongly horrific thing. So basically, as a symbol, his concubine was just essayed by these men. He's now making a symbol and cutting her up into 12 pieces. And then he's sending these pieces together with her bones into the coast of Israel. So it's like, look at what you've done to me. I'm giving you a piece of her each. Now, I'm taking this literal. Somebody could stop me and say, no, this is not literal. This could be symbolic. No, I'm literally taking this literal. I think he cut her up in some sort of ritualistic fashion, her body into 12 pieces, and almost like, I want to say, like a mafia sleeping with the fishes sort of thing, giving it to each of the tribes of Israel as a symbol that they have come to do this disasterly deed. So instead of doing the wickedness and essaying the men, instead they essayed the concubine, had their way with her, and then she lost her life, got cut up in 12 pieces, and spread about. That, you know something, I almost want to say, okay, I'm done for the day. Like that's my Bible reading for the day. I am done. But you know something? I want to see what happens now with the symbolic, because I almost want to say, in reading that, okay, what does that have to do with religion? What does that have to do with the storyline? What is the purpose of telling this particular story? What is the symbol? Because I mean, I almost want to say, I mean, obviously, this is a horrific story. It really is. It's disturbing. But I'm gonna go on. I'm gonna go on, and depending upon how, I mean, it's early today. I have a lot of things to do, but I'm gonna go on. This is actually a really long chapter, so, and it's 21. You know, I might be able to finish this before we might finish this and go to Ruth. Let me see how long this chapter goes, because this is a really really long chapter. But chapter 20, we are on Judges. So we just got the horrific essaying and cutting up the pieces and sending it to the different children of Israel. So then all of the children of Israel went out, and the congregation was gathered together as one man from Dan, even unto Beersheba with the land of Gilead, unto the Lord in Mizpah. And the chief of all people, even all those tribes, presented themselves in assembly of the people of God, 400,000 footmen that drew a sword. So now let's get back to numbers. 400,000 footmen that drew a sword. That is not including women, not including children, not including elderly men, because it's only people who could draw a sword. So that just shows we're still dealing with massive, massive numbers of the children of Israel. Now the children of Benjamin heard that the children of Israel were gone up to the Mizpah. Then the children of Israel, tell us, how was this wickedness? So now they want the juicy details. It's like, oh, you just did this wickedness. Tell us. Let's hear the story. And the Levite, the husband of the woman that was slain, answered and said, I came into Gibeah that belonged to Benjamin, and I and my concubine to lodge. And the men of Gibeah rose up against me and beset the house around me by night, and thought to have slain me. And my concubine they have forced, and she is now dead. And I took my concubine, and I cut her up in pieces, and sent her throughout the country of the inheritance of Israel, for they have committed lewdness in the folly of Israel. Okay, so now we're getting into the story of what the consequences of this is. Behold, ye all are children of Israel. Give hers your advice and counsel. And if all the people arose as one man, saying, we will not any of us go into this tent, neither will any of us turn to this house. But now shall be a thing which we will do unto Gibeah. We will go up by lot against it, and we will take 10 men and 100 throughout the tribes of Israel, and 100 of 1,000, and 1,000 of 10,000, to fetch victual for the people. Victual being food and commodities, food and supplies. I mean, that they may do when they come to Gibeah of Benjamin, according to all the folly they have wrought in Israel. So all the men of Israel were gathered against the city, knit together as one man. And the tribes of Israel sent men through all the tribes of Benjamin, saying, what wickedness has this that has done among you? Now therefore deliver us the man, the children of Belial, which are in Gibeah, that we may put them to death, and put away evil from Israel. But the children of Ben would not hearken to the voice of their brethren, and the children of Israel. But the children of Benjamin gathered themselves together out of the cities into Gibeah to go out and battle against the children of Israel. So basically, okay, they just committed this horrific act where they essayed a woman. They wanted to essay a man, but they essayed a woman instead, the concubine. And he got angry, killed the concubine, spread her pieces throughout as a symbol because he was going to, and now they need to make atonement for this act. And they're refusing. They're like, no, we're going to battle it out. The children of Benjamin were numbered at the time of the cities 20 and 6,000 men, and they drew their swords behind the inhabitants of Gibeah, which were numbered 700 chosen men. So just by numbers alone, the 26,000 men will easily kill 700 men. But let's see, because the 26,000 were the bad ones. Let's see what happens with the good ones. So that's interesting. Among all these people, there were 700 chosen men that were left-handed. Ooh, that's going to be a key. Everyone could sling stones at a hair's breadth and not miss. And the men of Israel beside Benjamin were numbered 400,000 that drew their sword. All of these men were of war. So you have a lot of people that are all men of war. However, there's a huge outnumbering difference. The only difference is the ones with the 700 are also left-handed. So that means they can have a skill advantage of attacking from the side where people will be defending. So left-handed, very, very interesting. The children of Israel arose and went to the house of God and asked counsel of God and said, which shall we go up first to the battle against the children of Benjamin? And the Lord said, whoops, baby. Sorry, guys. And the Lord said, Judah shall go up first. So see, this is the good thing. They actually turned to the counsel of the Lord. That's what should have been done originally with Micah, is turn to the counsel of the Lord and see what the Lord has to say. The Lord is with them. Answer any questions that they have. And that's the first thing they should have did, was ask for advice. They didn't. But here, the children are asking for advice. And he's saying, Judah shall go first. Children of Israel rose up in the morning and encamped against Gibeah. And the men of Israel went out to battle against Benjamin. And the men of Israel put themselves in array to fight against them at Gibeah. And the children of Benjamin came forth out of Gibeah and destroyed down the ground of the Israelites. That day 20 and 2,000 men. And the people of the men of Israel encouraged themselves and set their battle plans against an array of the place where they put themselves in array of the first day. And the children of Israel went up and wept before the Lord until even, and asked counsel of the Lord, saying, shall I go up against the battle of the children of the Benjamin to my brother? And the Lord said, go up against him. And the children of Israel came near against the children of Benjamin the second day. the Benjamin went forth against them out of Gibeah the second day, and destroyed them down to the ground of the children of Israel against 18,000 men, all these that drew their swords. So they have the power of the Lord with them. They are literally cutting down all these men. Then the children of Israel and all the people went up and came unto the house of God, and wept, and sat there before the Lord, and fasted that day until even, and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings before the Lord. And the children of Israel inquired of the Lord, for the ark of the covenant was there in those days. So they still have the ark of the covenant. That's important. And Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, stood before it in those days, saying, Shall I yet again go out to battle against the children of Benjamin, my brother, or shall I cease? And the Lord said, Go up, for tomorrow I will deliver them into thy hands. And Israel set leers into wait around the city of Gibeah. And the children of Israel went up against the children of Benjamin on the third day, and put themselves in array against Gibeah as the other times. The children of Benjamin went out against the people, and were drawn away from the city. And they began to smite of the people, and kill as other times on the highways, which one goeth up the house of God, and the other to Gibeah in the field, about 30 men. So they're killing the men on the roadways. The children of Benjamin said, They are smitten down before us as the first. But the children of Israel said, Let us flee, and draw them from the city into the highways. And all the men of Israel rose up out of their place, and put themselves in array at Beth-horon. And the leaders in wait of Israel came forth out of their places, even out of the meadows of Gibeah. Sorry, guys. There we go. And it came there against Gibeah 10,000 chosen men out of all of Israel, and the battle was sore. But they knew not the evil that was near them. The Lord smote Benjamin before Israel, and the children of Israel destroyed of the Benjamites. That day 25,100 men, all of those that drew swords. So the children of Benjamin saw that they were smitten, for the men of Israel gave place to the Benjamites, which they trusted unto the leers in wait, which they had set aside. And the leers in wait hasted the rush upon Gibeah, and the leers in wait drew themselves along, and smote all of the city with the edge of the sword. Now there was an important sign between the men of Israel and the leers in wait, that they should go make a great flame with smoke rise up into the city. And when the men of Israel retired in battle, Benjamin began to smite and kill of the children of the men of Israel about 30 persons. For they said, Surely they are smiting down before us, first in battle. But when the flame began to arise out of the city with a pillar of smoke, the Benjamites looked behind them, and behold, the flame of the city ascended onto heaven. And when the men of Israel turned against them, the men of Benjamin were amazed, for they have saw that evil has come upon them. Therefore they turned their bodies before the men of Israel onto the way of the wilderness. But the battle overtook them, and when they came to the city, they destroyed in the midst of them. Thus they enclosed the Benjamites round about, and chased them, and trode them down with ease over Gibeah towards the sun rising. And there fell Benjamin 18,000 men, all of whose were men of valor. So remember, originally there was only 700 men. They're killing thousands upon thousands because they're on the Lord's side. And they turned and fled towards the wilderness of the rock of Rimmon, and they gleaned of them the highways 5,000 men, and pursued hard after them, and got them, and slew 2,000 men of them. So that all of which fell that day of the Benjamins were 20 and 5,000 men that drew the sword. All of these were men of valor. So 25,000 men instantly killed. But 600 men turned and fled to the wilderness into the rock of Rimmon, and abode by the rock of the Rimmon for 4 months. And the men of Israel turned again upon the children of Benjamin and smote them with the edge of the sword, as well as the men of every city of the beasts, as they came to Ham. Also, they set fire to all the cities that they have come to. So yeah, they're on a burning thing. I'm going to read the last chapter, which is chapter 21, and then I'm going to stop because then we're going to get to the new book, and it's going to be the book of Ruth. And I think tomorrow will be a great place to start Ruth. So let's go to 21. Now the men of Israel had sworn to Mizpah, saying, there shall not be any of us given his daughter unto Benjamin to wife. Okay, so they're totally ostracizing Benjamin. So do not give a daughter to Benjamin. They are out. And the people came to the house of God and abode there till even before God, and lifted up their voices and wept sore, and said, O Lord God of Israel, why is it come to pass in Israel that there should be a day one tribe lacking in Israel? And it came to pass on the morrow that the people rose early and built their offer and offered burnt offerings and so basically they're ostracizing one of the tribes. And I guess they're begging him, why are we getting rid of one of the tribes? Why should there be no? And let's see what the children of Israel said, who is there among the tribes of Israel that came not up with the congregation unto the Lord? For they had made a great oath concerning him that came not unto the Lord to Mizpah, saying, he shall surely be put to death. The children of Israel repented them for the Benjamin, for their brother, saying, there is one tribe cut off of Israel from this day. How shall we do for wives for them that remain, seeing that we have sworn by the Lord that we will not give them our daughters to wife? And they said, what one is there of the tribes of Israel come not to Mizpah to the Lord? And behold, there came none to the camp from Jebelagesh to assembly. For the people were numbered, and behold, there were none of the inhabitants of Jebelagesh Gilead there. For the congregation send there 12,000 men of the valiantest, and command them, saying, go and smite the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead with the edge of the sword, with the women and children. So they killed everybody. And this is the very thing that ye shall do. Ye shall destroy every male and every woman that had lain with a man. And they found among the inhabitants of Jebel 400 young virgins that had known no man by lying with any man. And they brought them into the camp of Shiloh, which is in the land of Canaan. And the whole congregation set some to speak to the children of Benjamin. They were in the rock Ramon, to call peacefully unto them. And Benjamin came again at this time, and they gave them wives, which they have saved alive of the women of Jabesh Gilead, and yet they so sufficed them not. The people repented them for Benjamin, because the Lord had made a breach in the tribe of Israel. Then the elders of the congregation said, how shall we do for wives for them that remain, seeing that the women are destroyed out of Benjamin? And they said, there must be an inheritance for them, that they escaped of Benjamin, that a tribe is not destroyed out of Israel. So they're making a good point. They're like, look, what are we going to do with these women? We have all these virgin women. Are we actually going to destroy the tribe of Israel completely? Howbeit we may not give them wives out of our daughters. For the children of Israel have sworn, saying, cursed be that giveth a wife to the Benjamin. Then they said, behold, there is a feast of the Lord in Shiloh yearly, in a place which is on the north side of Bethel, on the east side of the highway from Bethlehem to Shechem, and on the south of Lebanon. Therefore they commanded the children of Benjamin, go and lie in wait in the vineyards, and see and behold, if the daughters of Shiloh come out to dance in dances. Then come out ye of the vineyards, and catch you every man his wife, the daughters of Shiloh, and then go to the land of Benjamin. And it shall be, when the fathers or their brethren came unto us to complain, that we say unto them, be favorable unto them for our sakes, because we reserve not to each man his wife in the war. For ye have not given unto this time, that ye should be guilty. And the children of Benjamin did so, and took them wives according to their number of them that danced whom they caught. And they went and returned unto their inheritance, and repaired the cities and dwelt in them. The children of Israel departed thence at the time, every man to his tribe and to his family, and they went out from thence, every man to his inheritance. In those days there was no king in Israel. Every man did which was right in his own eyes. Okay, I can easily see how this can be a disaster because there is no king. There's nobody that they look up to obey. So it's sort of creating lawlessness. That's what seems to be happening. And that's exactly what happened is this. So now we are going to get to the book of Ruth. That's going to be tomorrow. So we're going to do episode 92 tomorrow. I know today was a little short of a day, which is fine. I have a couple of things that I need to do today. So we're going to do book of Ruth starting tomorrow. Book of Ruth, chapter 92. So, guys, I want to thank you all for coming today. Like I said, it was a short show today, but that is okay. There's some shows that'll be long, some that are short. I hope everybody has a great day. We will start tomorrow on the book of Ruth. Until then, take care, everyone. Have a great day. We are going to end stream. Have a great day.